manifestation, practicing miracles, healing, night routines, morning routines. But how does your brain actually respond to manifestation? What is the science behind manifestation? Does manifestation really work? And is it scientific? Now, let's hear from a neurosurgeon the impact of various routines that we do on manifestation. Hi, welcome to the Abundance Hour. In this podcast, we are going to invite an expert, a neurosurgeon, who is going to decode the science behind or the biology behind each of your practices and how it is impacting your performance. Right? So, welcome. I welcome Mr. Dr. Satish, who is a neurosurgeon and he has been practicing in a lot of private and public hospitals. And today we are going to take his expert view on how our routines, habits, and practices are helping our manifestation and performance. Let's go to Mr. Satish. Welcome, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. So we are very glad and it's a pride to have you here. Thank you for taking your time from your busy schedule and agreeing to this discussion. So, sir, as far as the brain is concerned, there are a lot of practices. What I have read is that it is like a muscle and it has to be built with training. So, to start with, what are the important habits in our daily routine which actually impact our brain performance?
First thing which brain requires every day is proper sleep. You have to
Okay.
have a proper sleep. And second thing is whatever we are whatever we are is what we eat.
Okay.
So that again impacts a lot on the brain.
Okay.
So those are the things which are to be done. And then what you want to be, that is what you are telling in manifestations,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So what
Yes.
you want to be,
Hmm.
you can direct the brain towards that.
Wow.
So you can make everyday practice which leads to a certain outcome. You can
Okay.
make everyday practice which leads to a certain outcome.
Wow. That's
So if you can train your brain slowly by each step by step per day, you can reach say, your goal, whatever it is.
Oh, wow. So I think you made my task easier. So I heard you saying that we can train our brain to what we want to become. And I think that is exactly what we do in manifestation. So you mean that we can train a brain to certain performance that we want, no matter from where, which background we come from?
Yes, yes. Brain can be trained. There is something called neuroplasticity.
Okay.
That is, the brain can be bent to
Okay.
whatever you want.
Yes.
And also, another thing is, you can't reach there directly. So,
Okay.
you have to break down your task,
Okay.
make it into smaller tasks,
Okay.
and these smaller tasks must be made as your habit.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to go to a certain thing, if you want to leave certain bad habit, or if you want to have a certain good habit, so these bad habits, how do they thrive? They
Okay.
thrive by giving you instant gratification.
Okay.
This instant gratification is mainly because of the dopamine release.
Okay.
Whatever the bad habit is, mostly it is you keep on doing it mainly because of the instant gratification and release of dopamine in the brain.
Okay.
So what you have to train your brain
Hmm.
is to break this instant gratification and have a gratification in a different way.
Okay.
So whenever you set a goal,
Hmm.
again dopamine gets released. When you do a new thing, dopamine gets released. When you can achieve the goal which you have set, again dopamine is released.
Wow.
So this will replace the bad habit.
Okay.
So that is how you train your brain.
Wow.
And again, by doing the same thing every day. So for example, if you want to read a book every month, so you don't have to start with reading a book every month. You
Okay.
have to start with reading at least 1 or 2 pages per day.
Okay.
So with that task, you set the task, that itself will give you some dopamine.
Okay.
Then you have read that 1 or 2 pages per day, that again gives you some dopamine.
Okay.
That dopamine, next you take it for 2 to 3 pages, then 10 pages per day. It keeps on building. So after a certain period of time, without reading that, you cannot be. So that
Okay.
becomes a habit. So that
Yes.
is how you train your brain.
Wow, so beautiful, so beautiful. So any good or bad habits are formed by this instant gratification only. So same way the bad habit has been formed for a dopamine release, we can actually replace that gratification with some other activity is what you're trying
Yes,
to say,
yes,
isn't it?
yes,
And that is how we break the pattern and then we create a new habit.
yes,
So beautiful, sir. Yes, exactly. And I think NLP and the manifestation practices and routines are all dependent on this only, where we are making people do a small routine on daily basis and they see a change and they feel it's a magic. So it's
yes.
something happening in the brain. So amazing. Sir, you also said that sleep is very important. So, what does happen in the brain in the night? Because dietitians say that you eat early.
Yeah.
Even in manifestation for a psychologist for their mental health, we tell clients that you eat early so that brain can do its tasks in the night
Mm.
by itself. So, as a neurosurgeon, I want you to give us a breakdown of actually what happens when we go to bed, after we go to bed, and why should we actually finish eating early before we go to bed.
Yeah. So basically, while you are sleeping, the
Hmm.
brain is not sleeping. There
Okay.
is a phase, it is very active.
Hmm.
What and all it does is first, whatever the memory you have formed all through the day,
Okay.
that gets converted into something which can be processed and used later. So
Okay.
that goes into a permanent memory and
Hmm.
it gets connected to all other places and it becomes a very usable memory. That
Okay.
happens only during the sleep.
Hmm.
Second thing is the lymphatic system within the brain that
Okay.
clears all the waste which were accumulated all through the day.
Hmm.
These things, if accumulated, may
Hmm.
lead to Alzheimer's disease during the
Okay.
old age. Alzheimer's disease, disease of the memory,
Yeah.
that happens mostly with people who don't sleep.
Okay.
So this again
Hmm.
happens during the night,
Hmm.
and uh, then neural pruning,
Okay.
that is whatever is not needed,
Okay.
that also gets deleted from the brain
Okay.
during the night. So all
Right.
these are very essential functions.
Hmm.
So what is more important
Hmm.
is having a very good sleep.
Okay.
Good sleep in the sense has both quantity and quality.
Okay.
Quantity is sleeping for at least 6 to 8 hours, that everybody does,
Okay.
everybody knows, most
Hmm.
of us try to do it.
Okay.
The other thing is the quality of the sleep that
Hmm.
nobody cares about.
Yes.
Okay,
It is not
so
visible, right?
yeah, yeah. So during the sleep, there are various phases.
Okay.
So in that, the random eye movements, the random eye movement REM sleep is there. That
Hmm.
is the sleep when most of these activities happen. So
Okay.
you have to go to that REM sleep at least 2 to 3 cycles during your whole sleep. So
Oh.
that is very important.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if your sleep is not good, if your
Okay.
sleep is disturbed,
Okay.
then the brain doesn't go to the REM sleep.
Okay.
Then that sleep is not very useful sleep,
Not a quality one.
not a
Okay.
quality sleep. The another
Hmm.
thing is snoring.
Hmm.
Snoring, you may sleep for even 10 hours.
Okay.
But if you are having snoring,
Hmm.
then you will never go to the random eye movement sleep.
Oh,
Because what
okay.
happens is your breath,
Okay.
during the snoring, there is a phase where the breath stops.
Okay.
So during that phase, after a certain period of time, carbon dioxide builds in inside the brain.
Hmm.
Again, the brain wakes up and makes you breathe. Again, you
Oh.
try to go into a deeper sleep.
Hmm.
Again, after some time, the breath stops.
Hmm.
Again, you again wake up.
So this is happening throughout the night
This
if you're
happens
snoring.
throughout the night, and the person never goes into the REM sleep.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
called sleep apnea syndrome.
Okay.
That has been associated with everything, all the
Hmm.
metabolic syndromes,
Hmm.
hypertension, cardiac problems,
Hmm.
sugar,
Hmm.
everything has been associated with sleep apnea syndrome.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that is
Okay.
very important. Snoring is a very dangerous thing.
Okay. So, very nicely you mentioned. Thanks for that because a lot of people suffer from this snoring, and that is why when they wake up, though they sleep for 8, 10 hours, also they say that my sleep was not enough. I'm tired, and this could be one of the reasons. How does food? I mean, what happens when we eat and immediately go to bed? How does it disturb this? As you said, REM sleep. So,
Yeah.
is brain disturbed with this activity?
Yes.
How does it happen?
So brain and food,
Okay.
there is something called gut brain axis.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the brain controls the gut
Okay.
through a nerve called vagus nerve.
Okay.
Okay, that is the 10th cranial nerve. It
Hmm.
controls the gut.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
how does the gut control the brain?
Okay.
Okay. In the gut, there is something called endochromaffin cells.
Okay.
Okay. These cells produce the serotonin. 90% of the serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, is produced from these cells in the
Okay.
gut using amino acids which we eat.
Hmm.
Okay. So this hormone
Hmm.
is what gets converted into dopamine. Serotonin, dopamine, everything are the happy hormones, neurotransmitters in the brain.
Okay.
So that is coming from the gut.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the gut brain axis.
Hmm.
And another thing is hormone called melatonin.
Okay.
Again, that is needed for sleeping.
Okay.
That gets produced mainly because of the circadian rhythm.
Okay. Yeah.
Circadian rhythm is nothing but
Hmm.
our body
Hmm.
is synced to the sun.
Okay.
Okay, that is called circadian rhythm.
Hmm.
As even in the early days, what happened was the body wakes up with the sun and goes to sleep after the sunset. Now
Okay.
with our artificial lights and all, we are staying all through the night.
Yes.
But our body is still linked to the sun.
Okay.
When the sun comes out, certain hormones secrete in the body.
Okay.
And after the sunset, certain hormones happen in the body.
Okay.
One of this hormone is melatonin, which is very essential for sleeping. So this that is another important thing is having a very dark place to sleep.
Okay.
Okay, those who have a darker place gets more melatonin and they will sleep better. Your sleep quality will become better. So that is how the gut and the brain is linked.
Okay.
Another thing is having the food very early. That helps because the blood supply to the gut. Yeah, okay. So
Okay.
along with the setting of the sun, your body gets prepared to sleep.
Okay.
And another thing which can be done for a better sleep is having a habit.
Okay.
Always what I tell is you have your food at least by 7:30 and have some habit
Okay.
like bathing before the sleep
Okay.
or reading a few pages before the sleep, not seeing your phone. Okay, not screens, not blue screens.
Okay.
Everything else can be done. Something you form a habit which you do yearly, which you do daily before sleep.
Okay. And why
this,
is that, sir?
the brain gets prepared
Okay.
to go to sleep when you start doing
That task, so brain thinks it has to sleep now.
yes,
next.
yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So if you have a bath, so brain knows within the next half an hour you are going to sleep.
Oh, it's getting prepared because
Yes,
of that.
yes,
Wow,
yes.
so beautiful. So in NLP we call it anchoring. So I think okay, so when you do a task or a habit before sleep, your brain is prepared.
Yes.
And so when you go to bed, automatically it's easy to fall asleep.
Yes.
Lot of people complain that I lie down in the bed, but for hours I am no awake. So this helps there, isn't it, sir?
Yes, yes. So what you
Okay.
have to do is you have to stop any neurostimulants like coffee,
Okay.
tea, and all before 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and have your food around 7:30,
Okay.
and have some 2 hours before the before going to bed, and form a habit
Okay.
before the bed. So all this will give you a good sleep and also having the room darker.
It will help have a
Yes.
better sleep. Wow, that's so amazing. So, in this manifestation in hypnotherapy, they talk about brain frequencies, right? So, when we are, I mean, about to sleep, we call it alpha, and no, before, I mean, when you're active, it's beta, and then alpha, and while you go to sleep, then theta, and then dreaming state, delta, right? So, how does it impact, how is it related to your brain function? So this the frequencies that our brain is showing.
So all these are picked up by the electrical activities in the brain.
Okay.
That is called electroencephalography.
Okay.
So like doing an ECG, you can do a electroencephalography in the
That is called
brain.
EEG. Is that
Yeah,
the
yeah, that is the
oh
EEG.
EEG? I never knew this
Okay.
expansion of EEG.
Okay.
Okay.
So EEG, when you do, all these brain frequencies have been
Frequencies.
picked up, and
Okay.
based on that, we diagnose various things
Okay.
like how the seizure comes and all that.
Okay.
So the reverse of which has not been established as of
Okay.
yet. But these waves has been picked up during certain phases of the
Of sleep.
sleep, wake up, and all
Okay.
that. Now, beyond the electrical activity, what we are seeing is now we are having scans which can see the metabolic activity inside the brain also. Those are
Okay.
called SPECT scans.
Okay.
So with SPECT scans, we have with SPECT scan we have scanned the brain and
Okay.
found out lot of activities which happen during sleep, wakefulness, and all that.
Wow. Okay.
So in that, there is something called default mode neurons.
Oh,
Okay.
default.
So these neurons are a new find.
Hmm.
This tells us a lot more about our brain. These
Okay.
have been picked up by SPECT, and these neurons become active when we are not active.
Okay.
When we are idling or when we are sleeping, these neurons become very active
Okay.
and they take care of the brain. Lot of processes happen during sleep, during our idleness.
Okay.
And another thing which was seen was there are certain injuries in the brain which don't have a big blood clot and all is not there. People undergoing a road traffic accident go to this kind of coma.
Okay.
Okay. So their consciousness and all has come down.
Yeah.
In that, the brain, everything is functioning normally. These default mode neurons are not functioning normally. So
Okay.
those which are thought to be not of much use, thought to be a standby state, like in your TV or a laptop, you put in a standby state.
Yeah.
Initially, what was thought was these default mode neurons are like a standby state and they
Okay.
don't do anything.
Okay.
But after this finding that in these patients who are in deep coma,
Okay.
these not the normal brain is not functioning, everything is functioning. What is not functioning is the default mode neurons,
Yeah. Okay.
something which was thought to be not much of use.
Huh.
So what this tells us is that this default mode neurons, something which happens during your idleness and sleep, is more important than your active brain.
Wow. So which we are actually not no bother about.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And is there a way that we make them more active and more effective, these neurons?
Ah,
Are there any studies like that?
yeah, nothing like this.
Okay.
But
But
in
they are
your
not.
idleness,
Okay.
having a period of idleness, having a
Hmm.
period of boredom,
Hmm.
now we are in a state where we are continuously being stimulated
Yes.
with a mobile phone, with your Instagram reels, keep on moving. Because of that,
Hmm.
they are calling is doom scrolling or something
Yes,
like
doom
that.
scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So continuous scrolling.
Yes.
So all this your default mode network is being not used.
Okay,
Okay, it
okay.
needs certain idleness. Every day you need some time for yourself to be idle, not
Wow.
to do
Anything.
anything
So
else.
because nowadays we are trying to like kids say that I'm bored and
Yeah.
people want to put them in multiple classes, school, class. So there is no idle time, right?
Yes.
Either phone, TV or classes. So because so that they don't disturb the parents. So is that how it is beneficial for them, or teaching them how to be idle is important? Because in our time we were made to be bored. We had to just sit and idle, we think, and do some naughty stuff, and might be that became very creative thing later. So which is the right one, being bored? So when you say boredom is important, so is it good to allow kids to get bored?
Yes, it is not
So because
only.
we see they're getting irritated,
Yes.
so is it okay allow them to practice that being bored for some time?
Yes, it must be allowed some amount of time where there is no stimulation comes to them. It's
Okay.
very important, not only for the day-to-day activity,
Hmm.
for their growth, for
Okay.
them to develop neurons which will prevent
Hmm.
which will make them take good decisions later. For
Wow.
that, this boredom is very important.
Okay. So does it have any relationship with creativity? Because
Yes.
creativity is the most needed when you want to be successful. You have to do new things, think the new way. So does this have any role in that?
Yeah, these default mode neurons, which I told you about,
Yeah.
so they have been detected in various quantity
Okay.
in different people.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
so extroverts or introverts, there is a difference.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
there are people who are more anxious.
Hmm.
They have more connection with this default mode neurons.
Okay.
So it has been more and more findings are being discovered each day about these things.
People lack that creativity, and so they are not able to take risk or try new things in life, and they want to be in the comfort zone. So does this have any role in that? And can we utilize it to the optimal?
Yeah. So
Okay.
during this idling phase,
Yeah.
so that is when the brain consolidates
Okay.
whatever you have done.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a time for inner reflection. Okay, so this default mode neurons have been associated with inner reflection.
Okay.
So this default mode neurons have been found to have more connection with people who are introverts and
Okay.
who take long time for decision.
Oh.
Okay, so all these changes when you give some idling time, when you have time to think about yourself, think about your decisions, think about your inner self, that is when this changes. So all this gets into a decision making ability which will be very good.
Okay.
And so this thing again impacts on your creativity. So creativity is nothing but taking a different kind of decision
Yes.
than
Yes.
normal people. That is what is creativity basically.
Yeah.
So that definitely improves with a lot of idling time.
Wow. Wow. So being bored is good.
Yeah,
So
very good.
compared to where people are always wanting to do something. So now people are talking a lot about stress, right? And lot of people ignore it.
Hmm.
Few people take action immediately, and few people ignore it and they think it's normal and let it be. So what happens when you hold stress for long term? So what is happening in the brain? Are you making, or I mean, what is happening with the suppression when you're not attending to this? What is the impact on your brain and productivity?
Yeah, yeah. So I have been recently talking about this.
Okay.
So stress basically is a very important thing. It
Okay.
is your survival tool.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so you basically go to hunt.
Hmm.
You see a tiger.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so you have to either fight it
Hmm.
or you have to run away from it.
Yeah.
That is basically where stress comes in.
Hmm.
So what happens is
Hmm.
body produces certain hormones.
Hmm.
It produces cortisol
Hmm.
and adrenaline.
Hmm.
Okay, this cortisol, what it does, it brings all the sugar
Hmm.
into your bloodstream so that
Okay.
you have more energy to either fight the tiger or run away.
Okay.
So that sugar is needed for your muscles.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so that is needed to survive.
Hmm.
So what happens now is
Hmm.
we are not going to fight the tiger,
Yes.
but we are living with the tiger.
Hmm.
So we have the stress with us.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so that cortisol and adrenaline is in your bloodstream forever.
Okay.
Whole through the day it is there.
Okay.
So your sugar
Hmm.
level is high in the blood.
Okay.
So you get diabetes.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
then that sugar has to get sugar usually doesn't get filtered by the kidney. In your
Okay.
urine, sugar should not be there.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
sugar will not be there.
Hmm.
But when sugar goes above a certain level, above
Hmm.
180, 200 milligram percent,
Yeah.
so it gets filtered by the kidney. That
Okay.
damages the kidney. Once
Okay.
kidney is damaged, you get hypertension.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
these together produces cholesterol,
Okay.
sugar, high sugar in the blood.
Okay.
All this leads to a heart attack and uh, stroke and
Hmm.
all that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
then again, what happens is the stress takes away all the blood to whatever is needed to fight and flight
Okay.
to your muscles.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so what happens is the blood reduces in your gut, blood
Okay.
reduces in your reproductive system.
Okay.
Okay, so your gut doesn't work properly, acidity happens, then irritable bowel disease happens.
Okay.
So all this may even lead to cancer.
Okay.
Okay, and with the stress the body's ability to fight the cancer also is lost.
Okay.
Okay, so every day lot of cancer cells are being formed in your body.
Hmm.
Your body's immunity has to fight those cancer cells and kills them mostly.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
almost every cancer cell which is produced in your body daily is
Hmm.
destroyed by your immune system. That
Okay.
immune system doesn't work properly when you have a stress. So
Okay.
cancer, chance of getting cancer increases.
Oh.
Again, blood
Okay.
doesn't go to the reproductive system, which again leads to a lot of infertility issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole body is affected by stress.
Okay, and even in no manifestation healing, we say that 99% of your diseases are psychosomatic. So no, it's all brain related. So I think as you are explaining, it could be like this because of this rush of no chemicals like adrenaline and what is
Cortisol.
cortisol you said, and lack of supply of blood, everything slowly starts getting damaged,
Yes,
isn't
yes.
it? So if you work on stress, people can actually live a disease free life. Is
Yes.
that so? Okay. So that's amazing. And I think we are all avoiding it and rather spending on medicines and hospitals. But nobody wants to focus on the right thing. So, though doctors say they just want quick results, and so doctors have no choice than giving medicines to people. So amazing insights, sir. I think people hardly understand this, that how stress is impacting them, and they think ki acidity issue it is happening, so I have to attend to acidity. If I'm having IBS, there is something to do with only my stomach, but they are not understanding that the brain and stomach is connected,
Yes.
isn't it? So there is a depiction in social media. We see that roots are here, and this is the tree
Mm.
which is grounding, and so well it is connected. So thanks a lot for these insights. Now you're talking about flight and fight. So our brain has to do either of these things, and it gets prepared. So in stress, it's throughout that. But in stress, there is also something happens, freeze.
Mm.
So when we have to take some really no great action, so you have a goal and now it's time to implement. So it come whatever I learn, I'm happy to learn. But when I have to implement something, my body freezes. It could be like I want to do a workout, or I want to meet someone, in fact, or go for interview. Also, I'm like I'm not able to act upon it, and I don't know why. So something is stopping me. So what is happening in the brain? Why do we freeze from taking action?
Uh,
So, how is it related, sir?
so again, this is one of the primitive reflexes. Okay,
Okay.
a lot of animals cannot see stationary objects. They
Okay.
see only moving objects.
Okay.
So you freeze and
Hmm.
you save your life.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Hmm.
but now,
Hmm.
while doing things
Hmm.
which you have planned,
Okay.
okay. So for that, what you say is like manifestation
Hmm.
only.
Hmm.
Okay. So even in Tirukural, there is a kural called Edirada nokkum arivinarkille adira varuvador noi.
Hmm.
That means when you expect
Hmm.
what is going to happen,
Hmm.
when you see all the chances and choices which can happen with the decision you are taking,
Hmm.
so then you won't get something which will be very shocking to you.
Okay.
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 So when you are going to go into such situations,
Hmm.
you know you are going to do that.
Hmm.
So what you have to do is you have to imagine yourself in that situation.
Okay.
Okay. So imagine and do it in your mind before doing it in person.
Okay.
Okay. So that itself will give you a bit of confidence. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So that must not give you a stress. Okay.
Okay.
While doing the thing, you should not be stressed at all,
Hmm.
because you have already lived it 1,000 times.
Got it.
Okay. So
Got
that
it.
is one of the ways to prevent
So,
it. Yeah.
might be because my brain is unsure about what is going to happen,
Hmm.
and I'm shocked with what could happen,
Yes.
and that
Correct.
is why I'm into freeze mode.
Yes. You should
So,
not think about the result first of all.
okay, and that is why
Okay.
people say don't focus on the results
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It should
focus
be
on
the
actions.
process. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So because I'm expecting something wrong to happen
Mm.
always, the no nature of our human mind, we are always expecting adversities and not positive thing, and that doesn't allow me to move. Now, when I say about this fight, flight, and freeze, it's so beautiful, as you said, that it's coming from primitive, like from our ancestors and from where we have come into humans. So, is our brains programming, or whatever is the connection wiring happened? So, is it connected from our origin, or from our evolution?
Yes. Yes. The whole thing, the
So, our
whole brain.
behaviors, our thoughts today, our fears, are they all connected from since then?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
Everything is connected only.
okay,
There are various parts in the brain which are like, which we called, especially the cerebellum,
okay.
the small brain or
Hmm,
cerebellum is there, right?
hmm.
The cerebellum has parts which are called as archicerebellum, paleocerebellum, and neocerebellum itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So there is a part of the cerebellum which has developed from the time of the reptiles. Okay, there's
Okay.
a part of the cerebellum which are in all the mammals and all that.
Hmm, hmm.
And there is a neocerebellum, which is in humans and
Okay.
chimpanzees and apes and all that.
Okay.
So if you see the whole brain, the whole process is not something which happened today. So all our responses are what we have evolved to
Hmm.
from very old ages.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it means I don't have to judge myself and worry that why am I like this? A part of me which I'm not liking might be a result of how we have evolved,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So it is not my fault that I'm a certain kind. But is it workable? Can we train it in a different way in my current birth itself?
Yes, yes, yes. We can definitely train the brain,
Hmm.
but whatever you train to,
Okay.
these reflexes, everything which you have come through,
Okay.
that will be there in the back of the brain.
Okay.
But definitely you can train your brain to do anything. That is
Okay.
what I called as neuroplasticity.
Hmm.
Okay, neuroplasticity is, there are evolving concepts.
Hmm.
Okay, so first thing is neuroplasticity has been known for a long time.
Yeah.
What was initially thought was,
Hmm.
in the brain no neurons form during the life.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so whatever neurons you are born with, you die with the same number of neurons.
Okay.
No neurons get formed during the life.
Hmm.
That is what was the initial thought.
Okay.
But still neuroplasticity was known.
Hmm.
How they thought was,
Hmm.
the other areas of the brain which
Hmm.
are not daily used.
Okay.
For example, you are getting a stroke.
Hmm.
Certain parts of the brain die.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you don't you are unable to use your right hand.
Okay. Hmm.
Left parietal lobe area died.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
but after a certain period of time,
Hmm.
with exercises,
Hmm.
right hand will work again.
Okay.
So that is known.
Hmm.
So this has to be explained.
Hmm.
So what we came up with is the neuroplasticity, that other areas of the brain
Hmm.
start doing this work. It
Okay.
does.
Okay.
And this has been proven with the MRIs and all that.
Hmm. Hmm.
But there is another thing which has been newly discovered,
Okay.
which we know for past 5 to 10 years, is that there are cells
Hmm.
within the brain,
Hmm.
especially in the hippocampal region and the periventricular region zone.
Okay.
Okay, from there these cells migrate to wherever the brain damage is there.
Okay.
These new cells form new neurons. Okay,
Okay.
so
Hmm.
these new neurons and already other areas of the brain,
Hmm.
all these can make up even a broken brain.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so
Okay.
you can definitely train your brain. Brain is just like a muscle, like going
Okay.
to a gym.
Yeah.
You can train your brain.
Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
told, whenever you have a goal,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
break it into simple things.
Okay.
You train your brain.
Okay.
First, you train your brain to lift 2 kg.
Yeah.
Then finally, if your aim is to lift 10 kg, you start with 2 kg. Break
Okay.
it into simple things.
Hmm.
Break it into things which don't, which give you as much joy as a
Hmm.
thing which you left. That is
Okay.
what Gandhi also told.
Hmm.
If you remember, what he told was, never give up a thing
Okay.
for another thing. Okay, so
Oh.
give up a thing because it gives you joy.
Okay. So take up a thing which gives you more joy than the previous one.
Yes.
So you don't feel like you have given up something.
Yes.
Because your brain does not know difference. It is only seeing the joy.
Yes.
Wow, so beautiful, so beautiful. So I think it boils down to we saying that no brain does not know between right and wrong. It's only the illusion and the feeling that it gets in. So we tell that feelings matter and nothing else. So that feeling can be replaced with any other objective thing as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes.
So
We are all chemicals.
okay,
Brain is mainly made up of chemicals.
full chemicals.
So
Okay.
getting more of the good chemicals,
Hmm.
feel good chemicals, dopamine.
Hmm.
Okay, so getting that.
Hmm.
And when you have a goal,
Hmm.
you take it in such a way that it is the whole thing, the process is very pleasant to you.
Okay.
Then only the brain will start accepting it
Hmm.
and make it a habit of
Okay.
yourself.
So, sir, you are mentioning that take it as a thing that everything that you like, but somewhere, like there is again an illusion. Like for some people, it's like only if something is difficult, it is worth doing, right? So, what is happening in the brain? Why am I wanting to do difficult thing, and when it's the easy thing, I feel it is worthless. So, why is it? So, is there something that brain is craving for that challenge and toughness?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
The brain always wants to do new things. Okay.
Okay.
So when you are planning, already I told you,
Hmm.
whenever you are planning a new thing itself, you
Hmm.
get some amount of dopamine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So whenever there is something change in your routine,
Hmm.
okay, when you want to do a new thing, you learn a new thing,
Hmm.
then the brain gets some amount of dopamine.
Okay.
When you do that thing,
Hmm.
when you do it successfully, your self, what to say, self belief, no,
Self-worthiness.
yeah,
Huh.
your self worthiness increases. Okay,
Hmm.
so you get more dopamine.
Hmm.
Okay, so the whole thing is
So
based
again,
on
it's
this
addiction
chemicals.
to
Yeah.
face challenges. Is that
Yes,
you're
yes,
telling?
yes.
Oh my God. Okay. So what about the people who do not want to come out of the comfort zone? So are they getting the dopamine anywhere else, or they don't need dopamine? How is it?
No, no. Comfort zone is actually good for some people.
Okay.
Okay. So when you start doing certain thing, as your expertise in the
Okay.
thing increases,
Okay.
okay, your stress level to that comes down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you are going to a new job, you
Hmm.
don't know the job.
Hmm.
Every day is a stress.
Yeah.
After 10 years of doing the job,
Hmm.
the stress completely comes down. You
Yeah.
know what you expect,
Yeah.
you know what you have to do.
Hmm.
You don't have any stress.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
That stress free environment is comfortable for a lot of people. So
Okay.
they stay. But some people break out of it
Hmm.
and they want to face new challenges,
Hmm.
new stress.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But this new stress gives dopamine.
But the people who do not want that stress, for them, where are they getting dopamine then?
They are not getting dopamine. They are
Hmm.
not wanting cortisol. Okay. They
Okay.
don't want stress. They are comfortable in the region. And another thing is, I already told you about
Hmm.
the default mode
Yeah.
neurons.
Yeah.
Okay. They
Okay.
are more connected with in various parts of the brain in people who overthink.
Okay.
Lot of these people want to break out of this comfort zone.
Okay.
Okay, where there is no stress,
Hmm.
but they overthink.
Okay.
For people for whom these neurons are
Hmm.
connected, very
Hmm.
much connected,
Hmm.
they are a bit of an introvert
Okay.
and they think a lot before taking the next step.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
again, this is a habit which can be broken out of if we
Okay.
want.
So, can you talk a little more about overthinking, sir? Because a lot of us face this,
Hmm.
and people are struggling to come out of it. This negative thinking and overthinking. How do we handle it?
Yeah. So basically, overthinking is repeated thinking. That
Yeah.
is only is mainly overthinking.
Hmm.
So you know the cause, you know what you are going to intervene, you know the result.
Hmm.
That everybody has the same cards dealt.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you know what you are going to do, you know what and all result can come.
Hmm.
If you want to start a business, you know how much you have to put, how much effort, money, time you have to
Hmm.
put in.
Hmm.
You know what can happen. Either the business can thrive, it may not thrive, or it may completely fail.
Yeah.
You have all the cards on the table.
Hmm.
So these people who overthink,
Hmm.
they keep on thinking,
Hmm.
what if it fails?
Hmm.
What happens if it fails? What
Hmm.
happens even when it is successful?
Hmm.
Okay, will more of my time will be lost? Will I be
Okay.
able to manage that
Hmm.
position?
Hmm.
That repeated thinking, they
So,
know
what
what it
reward
is
is
there.
brain trying to seek here?
It
What is?
is it
Yeah.
is not reward. It is
Hmm.
avoidance of stress, avoidance of
Okay.
getting into a position where you may not come back.
Okay.
So what you have to do is informed decision. Sometimes it could be right also,
Hmm.
but you have to take for everything. Even in surgery, we are
Hmm.
doing high risk surgeries.
Hmm. Hmm.
What we tell the patient is the risk benefit ratio.
Okay.
Okay, so your ability to take a good decision, to
Okay.
see the risk and benefit.
Hmm.
So whenever the benefit is more, you
Hmm.
take the risk.
Okay.
Okay, so that is
Okay.
what we tell the patients
Hmm.
also.
Hmm. Hmm.
Neurosurgery is high risk surgery.
Yes.
So, but lot of people undergo the surgery, lot of people come out of the diseases also.
Hmm.
So, if all of them avoids this risk, they
Okay.
won't come out of the disease at all.
Yes.
So, there is no point in overthinking. Again, this overthinking, this thing comes from the childhood.
Okay.
Okay, so to make a good decision,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
so it has to be trained from the childhood.
Okay.
Again, I told you idling time, it
Hmm.
might help with taking good decision. Okay.
Okay.
So you have to have a inner insight.
Hmm.
Insight is very important.
Hmm.
That again comes with the having some idling time to think about yourself.
Okay.
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 And taking a good decision not only is your genetic and your ancestral thing, everything is there,
Hmm.
but your brain can be trained to take good decisions, quick decisions.
Okay. Great. So that's so amazing. So avoiding stress. And so beautifully you said that taking informed decisions and evaluating the risk and benefit. So if we can put forward them that what is the risk if you don't do and the benefit when you do, then it
That
helps to
everybody
choose.
has.
Hmm.
That everybody has.
Yeah.
The decision
Huh.
to know whether the benefit is more than the risk.
Yeah.
That is what the overthinkers doesn't do. The decision making ability can be trained from the childhood itself.
Got it. Wow, amazing, sir. So that's so detailed. No, because people think, why am I overthinking? Why am I fearing so much? Might be they are just a small activity away. If they can analyze, and it will help them to
Yes.
take action.
That's what
So,
you can make a tabular column.
okay.
Pros and cons for everything.
Yeah.
You make a tabular column, you write it.
Yes.
When you write it itself,
Hmm.
there is one saying that when you can write the problem is solved.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
When you can
And
make
why
a
is that,
perfect
sir?
statement,
Because there is a lot of studies of graphology also.
it's about putting the problem into
Yeah.
words
Got
to
it.
make
Yeah.
it into a statement
Hmm.
in such a way that it tells you exactly what is the problem,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
a problem may be there. You will
Exactly.
be thinking there is a problem, you know that there is a problem,
Hmm.
you know the components of the problem,
Hmm.
but when you have to make it into a statement,
Hmm.
to make it into a concise thing
Hmm.
for which you need a solution.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So when you think about something and you think of all the possibilities, all the problems which you come, but when you write it, everything goes into a single statement.
Okay.
When you can perfectly write the problem which you are facing, then you can go into a solution. Most of the time, while thinking about the problem itself, the solution will automatically present itself.
What are the science backed ways to improve memory and concentration?
Okay.
Yeah.
So memory and concentration. First is memory.
Hmm.
Memory is reinforcement. It's the
Okay.
first thing which is needed for memory.
Hmm.
So whenever you want to remember something, whenever I want to read something, what you have to do is repetitive reading.
Okay.
So for that only, writing is again very important, because when you see and write it, okay, your brain has to process it multiple times.
Okay. Before
While
writing.
reading, you are seeing the thing. Okay, directly it goes to your occipital cortex and it gets stored in the frontal cortex.
Okay.
But when you have to write it, okay, so it has to go to your occipital cortex where the visionary sensation is, vision. Then again it goes to the frontal cortex. From the frontal cortex, it has to go to your parietal cortex where the writing neurons are there. Then again your eyes has to see it. Okay, then you have to be coordinated to write that. Your
Okay.
cerebellum comes into play, your
Okay.
hippocampus memory comes into play. So
Okay.
everything is needed for that writing. Okay,
Oh,
so many
okay.
neurons are involved. That's why writing is very important. So
Okay.
when you read, you try to write.
Hmm.
Okay, that itself will present one thing. Okay,
Wow.
then always revise. When
Okay.
you have finished something, when you have read something, when you have to remember, then always revise. Next day you leave it for one day, let and go to a good sleep. In the sleep, this memory which is initially stored in the hippocampus gets converted into a long term memory, and it gets integrated with all the other processes which are already in the brain.
Okay.
So next day you again read it and retrieve it,
Okay.
again it gets reinforced.
Okay.
The third thing which I tell all my students is that you never learn as much as you teach. When
Okay.
you teach the same thing to somebody,
Okay.
when you tell them what
Yes.
exactly you read,
Yes.
try to tell them. When you tell them, you try to tell them concisely.
Yes.
Okay, so for that, lot of processing is needed in the brain.
Yeah.
So when you teach, you learn a lot.
Yes, yes, so true, so true. So when we teach, yes, we learn a lot. So beautiful because our parents told us to write and see, and it is such a task, and so we ignore. But the way you explained how it works, it is really beneficial. So all our neurons are involved while writing, and so the memory becomes strong. And that doesn't happen even if you read 10 times, right?
Yes.
It's only a visual thing is involved there. So when you talk about the senses, uh, how we can use all our senses, what kind of activities so that we can use all our senses for maximum performance, like we have our audio, we have our no verbal sense and touch and feel and visual sense. So what kind of activities you would suggest for students that can help them to no really use their senses to optimal, because lot of us hardly use all the senses. We are seeing or hearing, that's all. So we don't even smell also, hardly we use the smell sense
Yes.
also. What do you suggest, how should we actually, what small small tasks we can do so that we can engage all our senses on regular basis?
Okay. So this is not only for students,
Okay, for
for
elder,
everybody.
yeah.
What is needed is something called mindfulness.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So whatever you are doing,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
it involves all the senses.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you must be mindful of
Hmm.
what you are doing. You should not think about the past.
Okay.
You must not keep on thinking about the future.
Hmm.
Whenever you are doing a certain task, you
Okay.
must be mindful.
Okay.
Okay, even if you are drinking a cup of coffee, you must see the coffee. Okay,
Okay.
you must smell it. You must feel the warmth of it. S- Have its taste.
Okay.
Okay, be mindful of whatever you are doing. Okay, then you will use all the senses. Your senses are being continuously used, not only these senses.
We are
There
not
are,
aware.
yeah, we are not aware, they are
Okay.
being continuously used.
Okay.
Not only these senses. Okay, so there are a lot more senses. There is something called a vestibular apparatus within your ear.
Okay.
Okay, so it is like a gyroscope.
Okay.
Gyroscopes are things which are kept, which will always maintain the position. Okay,
Okay.
so that is continuously telling the brain where your head is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so both side there is a gyroscope which continuously tells the head, tells the brain where your head is. There are
Okay.
receptors within your hands, within your joints, which keeps on telling where the hand or foot is.
Okay.
Okay, so all these are sensations
Okay.
which are continuously going to the brain. Okay, but they are in the background.
Okay.
So when you are mindful of what you are doing,
Okay.
okay, you use all the stimuli which you are getting from your sense organs. Okay, then your brain becomes more active. You will
Okay.
be able to appreciate where you are. Okay, that is one thing. Another thing is to analyze these senses. Okay, so you will get more meaningful results from these senses. Okay, so most of the people, what we do while eating, okay, we don't we see phone or
Yes.
television and don't go into the taste of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that when somebody sees the food and feels it with their hand and
Okay.
then eat.
Okay.
Okay, then smell
Okay.
and eat, then only they'll get a full sensation. Okay,
Okay.
so that is being lost. Okay,
And does this have any impact on how it gets digested and your metabolism
yes,
and the
yes,
way you
yes,
accumulate fat?
yes,
Lot
yes.
of people they are saying weight loss ke liye do workout, you do dieting, but they're forgetting this mindfully eating, and so your digestion is not able to work no promptly. Is it there any connection, sir?
Yeah, there is a three phases in digestion actually.
Okay.
When you see the food itself,
Hmm.
your gastric juices, everything gets stimulated.
Okay.
Okay, that is the
Okay.
first phase.
Hmm.
Okay, so when you see, when you touch the food, before it even goes into your mouth,
Okay.
your body gets ready to digest the food. So if
Okay.
you don't see the food at all, if you are seeing the television
Hmm.
and keeping yourself in a stressful state, then that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Another thing is, after it goes inside, the beneficial bacteria are inside your stomach. If you have more of acidity, these bacteria, the whole bacterial flora
Okay.
gets changed if you are in a stressful state.
Okay.
So if you see and eat, then itself half the digestion is over.
Okay.
Okay. What was the question again?
Yeah, so digestion, is it related? And this weight
I
loss,
thought, weight
unwanted
loss.
fat
Yes, yes, yes,
accumulation.
yes.
Yes.
And about the weight loss,
Hmm.
another thing is there is something called stress eating.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So there are animals, okay,
Yeah.
which were kept in a environment which is loud and noisy. And
Okay.
some animals were kept in a position where it was nice area. Okay. So those who are kept in a stressful area, loud area, they ate more food.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So this is called stress eating. That is
Okay.
seen even
So,
in
and why are
animals.
we doing this, sir? I mean, what happens when I eat? Why should I eat when I'm stressful? What is my, what is the reward my brain is
Already I
getting?
told you, right?
Yeah.
When you are in stress, you need
Hmm.
cortisol.
Okay.
Cortisol has
So,
to increase the sugar. So
okay.
there must be sugar in the blood
And so
for
my
that.
craving for food goes.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So is my craving for food a signal that my body is asking for more sugar?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
More sugar, and it is asking for sugar which it doesn't need.
Okay.
Okay, when it is under stress.
Got it. Wow. So eating mindfully can actually help you work on proper metabolism.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. I think you have made my task easier. As you said, that mindfulness. When we talk about mindfulness, we talk about this routines. People think it doesn't work and it's all pseudoscience. So you are a neurosurgeon yourself and you are a doctor yourself. So do you advocate, right? I think you have already told, but do you advocate, do you believe in this routines, practices, and no repeating the affirmations, journaling, and focusing on the breath and slowing down your routines, as you said, while drinking the coffee, being mindful about whatever you do? So To what level do you suggest these to your clients as a neurosurgeon yourself? What are the most of the things that you suggest to your clients, no, in this aspect?
For
No, for their no
Mm,
brain health or
okay.
recovery or stress. So when the
Mm,
clients come to you.
okay. So what I suggest is first thing is mindfulness.
Hmm.
Okay, good sleep. Okay,
Okay.
and following the circadian rhythm. Don't fight your body. Okay,
Okay.
always be with your body. Always be with the nature.
Okay.
So that is what will help you your brain.
Hmm.
Okay. Second thing is most people ask for memory.
Hmm.
So we have already talked about
Yes.
memory and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Food.
And next thing is habit formation.
Hmm.
Okay. So there is in the Chinese,
Yeah.
okay, they have two things. They
Hmm.
divide people into two things. Okay.
Hmm.
One is a visionary
Hmm.
and a reactionary. Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Reactionary are people who reacts to whatever is coming to their life.
Hmm.
Okay, visionary is a people who doesn't react to whatever is happening in your life,
Hmm.
and they have a vision
Hmm.
and they go towards that goal.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
every day life will throw a lot of challenges to you.
Hmm.
Okay, so all those you don't have to react for each and every challenge. You must have a vision.
Hmm.
You must have a goal where you want to be in the next 5 years
Hmm.
or what you do with your life.
Hmm.
Okay.
And take your brain in that
Yes. So
focus.
what you
Okay.
have to do is you must have a long term vision,
Hmm.
break it down into lot of goals,
Hmm.
and each goal you have it.
Hmm.
And to achieve these goals,
Hmm.
you form habits.
Okay.
So to achieve this habit, you do something each day. You take a
Okay.
small step each day.
Hmm.
These small steps will accumulate into a habit,
Yeah.
and these habits will take you towards a minor goal,
Got it.
and these goals together should
Hmm.
lead you to your vision.
Yeah.
So that is how you develop yourself.
Got it. Amazing, sir. So when you say about breaking down the habits, having a goal, uh, can you just give, in psychology we call that your thoughts convert into no your actions. So there's a thought, then there is an emotion, and then there is a belief that forms, and then there is an action. So can you explain how does it work in your brain? How does a thought, what process it takes for a thought to become an action? You were telling that your body has to actually cooperate to bring into action, think and then act. So can you tell what happens and what is the process that takes place in the brain from this thought to action? So how does it become an emotion? How do we feel? Why do we feel, cry, sad, angry before we take action?
Okay. So basically, thoughts need not necessarily convert into action.
Okay.
Okay. But ideal thing is every thought getting into an action.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So there is a lot of processes between a thought and the action.
Okay.
Okay. So this can be controlled by us.
Hmm.
The whole process can be controlled by us.
Okay.
So every thought need not convert into an action.
Hmm.
Every thought has a pro and con.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you must be able to take a decision
Hmm.
where the thought has to be get converted into action or not.
Okay.
For that, the decision making ability is very, very important.
Mhm.
To develop a decision making ability,
Hmm.
you have to be in a state, a situation where you are able to take decision freely. Okay,
Okay.
in that freeness
Hmm.
comes your self belief.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
your confidence level,
Hmm.
self confidence is very, very important.
Okay.
So this can be developed as children.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
in adult also it can be developed,
Hmm.
but it is very easy to develop in children. So
Okay.
in children we have
Hmm.
to give them tasks and give them self confidence.
Hmm.
Okay, when they are doing wrong, you don't have to uh, you can correct them when they are wrong,
Hmm.
but you must appreciate them for the effort, not for the result.
Okay.
Okay, when you criticize the result, their effort gets wasted.
Okay. And
Okay,
that is why we
they
focus
don't.
on results always?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
focus on results.
Hmm.
For the effort, you must appreciate them.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
and you must correct them when they are wrong also. You don't have to appreciate everything which they are
Yes.
doing, but you
Hmm.
don't have to focus on the result.
Okay.
So when you raise individuals who don't focus on results, who focus on the process, then they are the people who can take a proper decision.
Hmm.
Okay, so every step of this thing from the thought to the action,
Hmm.
okay, every step leads to lot of decision making.
Hmm.
When you have a thought, It can be a good thought or a bad thought. Bad thoughts need not be, is not actionable, need not be actionable, should not be actionable. That decision also must be taken by the individual.
So, do you mean that there is a role of willpower? So, is there any a part of the brain that relates to willpower to act upon something?
Yeah, willpower is mainly what you get out of that action.
Yeah.
Okay. So most of the time, something which is simple, okay, which gives instant gratification, the brain will take lot of efforts to go to that.
Okay.
Okay. So, but something which doesn't give you instant gratification, but which will take you to your permanent goal. Okay. When that is there, you have to break it into something which gives you gratification in each step of the process.
Okay.
And you must start enjoying the process. Then only you will get to that result.
Okay. Got it. Wow. So, what is healthy for our brain, sir? Willpower or love and connection? I mean, how should we actually allow our brain to function? Allow it to be in ease or push it with some willpower and keep taking those actions?
It depends on the individual
Okay.
thing. But the whole thing is love per se. Okay. Is again dopamine.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, like I told you, this is what the example I told in the previous thing also. I told you about the tiger, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I told about this film, Life of Pi.
Okay.
Okay. So, in that, the boy is with the tiger. So, how does he overcome it?
Okay.
He becomes friends with the tiger.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, you start loving.
Loving.
Okay. If
Okay.
your work is giving you stress,
Huh.
love your work.
So
Start
then the
loving
willpower
your
will not be needed.
what?
Willpower will not be
Willpower
needed.
is needed.
Okay.
Okay. So, this thing, what we are talking about is training your brain to achieve what you want.
Yes.
Okay. So, for that,
So love the process.
yeah, you have to love the process. Then stress also will come down.
Okay.
Okay. So, you can gradually go into the next step also without the stress. Okay. You have to love the process, and you don't have to run away from the stress. Okay. When you love the process, then you love your job. Okay. You do the job which you love. Okay. Because of that, you will start doing more and more new things. You will start to explore yourself. Okay. So that is how you basically develop.
Wow, great. So amazing insights, sir. I think no lot of insights you have broken down as far as the brain thing is concerned. Because when we talk manifestation, we do not talk only about some some woo and what they say voodoo rituals and all. We talk about the science where, so as sir very well said, that the habits need to be there. You have to regularly do some habits, practice small habits, be mindful of every moment, right? Even a tea or a food, and that helps in weight loss or maintaining your right body weight and system. So you said about a memory where we need to writing is more easier than visualize, I mean just reading. So when you write, all the whole neurons are involved, and so the brain has more power. So we say you write affirmations. I think to just summarize, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that we need to have small habits,
Yes.
and we need to fall in love with the process, break down the process so that you can fall in love with the process, replace the things that you don't like or which you want to get rid of with, I mean, whatever the emotion you're getting with doing what you're doing, get into something better which can give you the same emotion. The task has been switched, but the emotion is same, so your brain will not resist it, isn't
Yes.
it? And be more mindful, involve all your senses. The more you involve all your senses and the whole body, your brain is going to be functioning at optimal. And sleep, again, you have mentioned that sleep is very important, and all the process, your memory retrieval and repair, everything is happening in the sleep. And if our sleep is not well defined, then it is very difficult for us to carry on the other things. And all the reason for all most of your diseases is your brain not having proper sleep, not being able to repair the thoughts and stuff, the stress, the more longer you carry stress, your brain is going to show it on the body,
Yes.
because the blood circulation and the other functions are going to be impacted, and your craving is not actual hunger but need for sugar. Might be this need for sugar is undesired, but it is coming because of, again, stress, isn't it, sir? So eating early, having small habits, and no, enjoying the process is going to lead you to success. I think he has given the whole thing. Being a doctor of manifestation, this is what we practice in manifestation. It is not we doing any black magic or white magic. It's all about the brain. You follow a few things and allow your senses to be occupied. So thanks a lot, sir. And before we leave, any suggestions or any last words you want to say to our audience? Brain is like a battery.
Yeah,
So every function is doing in the body,
mm,
it is getting consumed. So like in the phone, we have to switch off few apps if you want to save the battery. We say that in the brain also we need to cut down a few tasks which are less important and save the brain's energy for the most important. And that brain energy is what they called willpower, the willingness to implement things,
mhm.
right? So if you can know, give some ideas on how can we preserve brain's energy for our optimal function.
Okay. So first thing is, as you said, the brain is like a battery.
Okay.
Okay. So always replenish the battery.
Okay.
Okay. So first, don't use the battery at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
You have to always prioritize. Okay. When you have multiple tasks.
Hmm.
Okay. Multitasking.
Yeah.
Multitasking is not for humans. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mainly humans evolved not by multitasking.
Both for men and women?
For both men and women,
Okay.
we were able to concentrate on a single task, and that is how we mostly evolved.
Okay.
From animals who were afraid of the prey,
Hmm.
they have to be always on the lookout of the prey and eat and worry about everything else. From there, human beings developed, evolved,
Okay.
mainly because of their ability to do a single task.
Okay.
Okay, so multitasking
Hmm.
should not be basically done.
Okay.
When you have multiple tasks, always prioritize.
Hmm.
Okay, you write down all the tasks, prioritize which has to be done immediately, which can be done later,
Hmm.
and do the task which you are prioritizing.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing is the major development is development of the mobile phone technology.
Okay.
So with that, lot of people are doing multitasking 24/7 of the day, seeing the phone, whatever task they are in,
Along with it,
along
seeing the
with
phone.
it, seeing the phone, hearing music.
Hmm.
Okay, even driving, most of the time hearing the
Oh,
music.
that is also multitasking. That's also
That is also
disturbance.
multitasking only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to concentrate on the.
So while walking, listening to music is also disturbing the
Yeah,
brain.
that can
Okay.
be done.
Okay.
Okay, it is also relaxing to a lot of people.
Okay.
But if you can walk,
Without.
doing the walking alone. Okay,
Okay.
then take in all the sensations.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
then it will be much more useful.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so prioritize and do a single task at the same time.
Okay.
That itself will help the brain preserve this battery.
Hmm.
The other thing I have been telling all along is sleep. Sleep is
Okay.
how you recharge the battery.
Hmm.
Okay, so preserve the energy all through the day,
Hmm.
and when the day ends, recharge the battery so
Okay.
that you can go fresh with full energy for the next day.
Got it. Nice. So thanks a lot, sir. I think that is very no important. No, we have been telling people that no, again, sleep and having a habit before the sleep will help you have a quality sleep. And if you have a problem with snoring, please work on it because you're not sleeping well, and this would lead to other problems, is what sir told. Because you heard all along the podcast that sleep is the most important thing for your optimal functioning, and anything that is disturbing that, you need to really attend to it. And so this neurosurgery help in this. Even this snoring and stuff also, what are all the, I mean, basic challenges in whatever we discussed? Does neurosurgery help, or is it only for accidents?
No,
Neurosurgery.
neurosurgery is for a lot of things. There is
Okay.
something called functional neurosurgery,
Okay.
in which we treat lot of things like anxiety, depression through surgeries.
Okay.
Okay, so everything is there.
Hmm.
Okay, so but what was the question again?
So is neurosurgery only for accidents?
No, no,
Or
no.
what all other things that neurosurgery treats for a normal living, like snoring, anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, and
Yes, yes,
other
yes,
stuff?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what I was telling.
Mm.
Functional neurosurgery is there,
Yeah.
which helps with. There are certain things called deep brain stimulation,
Okay.
where we place electrodes
Mm.
within the brain to
Okay.
certain areas, which
Mm.
will reduce the anxiety,
Mm.
depression, and all that.
Okay.
Okay, so all those are there.
Mm.
Okay, but basically, snoring, you have to first go to a sleep specialist or a ENT surgeon.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
so and for do a sleep study to
Okay.
see how your snoring is.
Mm.
Okay, so it can be corrected. There are various anatomical factors which can be corrected by surgery.
Okay.
If not, there are machines which will
Mm.
help you breathe normally, do even when you are having a snoring.
Okay.
So all those will prevent the snoring related sleep apnea syndrome.
Okay.
Okay, that will help you have a very good health.
Hmm. Wow. Any basic foods that you suggest for brain health?
Okay, basically there is no superfood.
Okay.
Okay, for
Oh.
brain
Hmm.
development and all that.
But they say no, you
Uh,
eat all nut, it will be good. You eat
yes, yes,
few
yes.
things, yeah.
Not much of evidence in that,
Okay.
but having a good food is very important. Having good fiber rich food which are healthy for your gut bacteria
Hmm.
will definitely help brain.
Hmm.
You need tryptophan to develop serotonin,
Okay.
and that is available in all meats and
Okay.
all legumes, potato, everywhere it is available.
Hmm.
So have food which is not very processed.
Okay.
Okay, have food which is least processed. Okay,
Okay.
that itself will help your not only brain,
Yeah.
whole body,
Whole
but
body.
there are no superfoods.
Okay. So thanks. So thanks a lot, sir. I think it was very effective, and all our audience would have benefited knowing, breaking down how it is affecting, and hearing from the expert itself, and and understanding that it is not any kind of magic. It is science, something happening in your body, sensations that helps you to act and perform well, and you feel it magic once it is done. So until you don't try, you will not know it. So, before we come with another interesting episode on your manifestation, life, happiness, and joy, and business and finances, so stay tuned. And signing off, this is your host, Hema, your own manifestation and business mentor. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
you.